And today we're going to road trip to one of my favourite places, the Grampians in Western Victoria. We get to see some friendly wildlife, some hungry wildlife, just plain weird life, and some of the magnificent landscapes the Grampians have to offer. And this is Hall's Gap, which is basically the jumping off point to exploring the Grampians. Plenty of places to stay here. There's hotels, motels, caravan parks, cabins, little resorts. And one of the really nice things about Hall's Gap is the wildlife just make themselves at home. On the football field, having lunch next to the road, wanting your lunch in the park, outside my motel room, at the front door of my motel room. And then we're going to head off to this really cool hike up to what's called the Pinnacle. We're going up there somewhere. Okay, we're at the Wonderland car park, and this is the walk up to the Pinnacle. It's only about 2 k's, which isn't much, but it's all the way up, so it kind of takes a little while to get there. Lots of granite. Lots of granite. I remember coming here and solo hiking once in the middle of a winter, and this river was raging, and I had to jump over here, and as I jumped, my sleeping bag fell off the top of my pack and went downstream, and I had to run downstream and retrieve it. And then that night I slept in a wet sleeping bag. It was no fun, I can tell you. Well, unfortunately, for whatever reason, the path's closed back there, so I can't go right up to the waterfall. I have to go back around this way and head up to the Pinnacle. Sometimes you just gotta go. Oh yeah!
Straight cruising, headed for a bruising, watching out for number 1. You gotta slow down, look around you, son. Today is just today and not tomorrow. Where you're going, you can rest your head. Where you're going, brightness looks big. Where you're going, truth cannot be
Such a beautiful hike. Winter time is sometimes one of my favorite times of the year. You can go places, you get a decent day, and there's hardly anybody here. And I love nature when you get this sense of it's just you and the wilderness. It's very humbling.
Where you're going, brightness looks big. Where you're going, truth cannot be hid. You gotta get going. Easy now. You gotta get going. Easy now. Get along, give a hand, sleep heavy, be the man. Just there, where you are, do something, be the star. You gotta get going. Easy now, you gotta get going. Easy now.
Nearly there. Steps. And you just climb up. It's really narrow. Loving it. That's cool.
Where you're going, brightness looks big. Where you're going, truth cannot be hid. You gotta get going. Easy now. You gotta get going. Easy now.
Wow.
Get along, give a hand, sleep heavy, be the man. Just there, where you are, do something, be the star. You gotta get going. Easy now, you gotta get.
It's absolutely beautiful. I really don't like heights, but I'm trying to be brave, hey? Because otherwise we won't see it.
Have you been? You haven't been up here before? No.
I've been up here before, I was like 10. Okay, we'll let other people up here, which I'm happy to do because I don't want to die. Magnificent. Really worth that hike. It's just so breathtaking up here.
Straight cruising, headed for a bruising. Watching out for number one. You gotta slow down, look around you, son. Today is just today and not tomorrow. Where you're going, you can rest your head. Where you're going, brightness looks big. Where you're going, truth cannot be hid.
And so for dinner we headed to the local Indian restaurant and we got served by this. Hey. But after a day's hiking, we were ready to knock back some delicious food. Indian, more like Indian. And outside the restaurant, mock-up scenes from an Indian village. Weird, huh? Who would have thought? Indian restaurant in a small town like Halls Gap in the middle of nowhere, pretty much, that you'd find this fake Indian village with robot. Day 2 got off to a really brisk start. A little bit of a frosty morning. It's freezing. But it might be really frosty, but have a look at this beautiful morning view. I'm going to turn the camera around. That's proper iced over. A little defrost maintenance, and then it was off to Baroka Lookout for more magnificent views. Well, that was a pretty brisk morning. It was like -1, but it was worth getting up for because you get these kind of views. And now we're at Reed's Lookout, and you get an idea of the vastness of the Grampians. This just goes for miles and miles and miles. And what's a trip to the Grampians without a visit to the beautiful MacKenzie Falls? MacKenzie Falls, but we're just getting started. Okay, last section. Let's explore some of the rich indigenous cultural heritage of the region. Hey, the wattle's coming out. You know what that means? It means it's the spring before officially spring. Because we have 4 seasons because that's a very European concept. But here in Australia, in reality, there are actually 6 seasons. And one of them is like this pre-season between winter and spring. And the wattle is always one of the first indicators that the season is changing. So when I see wattle, it's like, thank God for that. We're going to get some sunnier days eventually. And the reason we're walking through this little bit of bush is we're on our way to Gorgun Munja Shelter, which is an indigenous rock shelter with Aboriginal paintings on. Out of the bush, up to the rocks, and I don't know, it's somewhere along here. I think in this direction somewhere there's the rock shelter, so we'll see if we can find it. But this sort of stuff really excites me. I really love the idea that, you know, humans have been here for thousands and thousands of years, and they've left their mark here. And I think we should all be aware, you know, as an Anglo-Saxon here in Australia, that there were people here a very long time before we ever got here, and they have an enormous connection to country, and it's such a beautiful country. They clearly like to leave their mark. That's beautiful. Imagine the stories that were told while they were sitting here eating a kangaroo, they call it, or something, or emu, and looking out over there and telling tales and telling the young people about their culture. And you can just imagine that somebody be sitting out on this rock overlooking all of this here, and they'd be seeing things like, you know, there's a mob of kangaroos over there, come on guys, there's dinner. Or, you know, there's a mob of people coming up here, here's your uncle and aunties. It's awesome. Oh, so that's really cool. That's like graffiti from 1,000 years ago. It probably says, you know, down with the system or something. No, I'm joking, clearly not. That is definitely corroboree. That really looks like corroboree to me. And the other one I can see it's a man with a spear, maybe? A spear and a shield. And the others, it's a bit hard to make out now. Unfortunately, all of these cave drawings are behind cages, because that's the only way to protect them from idiots. That's a real shame. But we really want to protect these because firstly they're so incredibly old, and it connects the indigenous mob with their country here. But we want this to be around for the next generation and the next generation and the next generation, so they can learn about the original inhabitants of this country and their connection with country and their beautiful and rich culture. So if you're still here, thanks for sharing the journey to the Grampians, or Garawerd as it's known by Indigenous language, and hopefully you'll come back next time and see where else we go. Got anything to say about anything? Got suggestions where I should go? Hit me in the comments down below, and we'll catch you next time. See ya. A whole field of emus. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I've seen one or two, but never a whole field of them. I know I said it a few times this trip, but wow, that's so cool.